Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I've created magic and miracles in order to help people of all walks of life all across the world. True story. All the information from me is below for you to be able to achieve your manifestation goals, whoever that you are. I came to YouTube 3 years ago. My predecessor channel is linked below. And what I've constructed for the YouTube audience is called the Signature Coaching Program. And this is how I coach my YouTube clients. It's a very intense program. We meet 3 times per week, and I recommend 2 to 3 months of coaching. On average, that's enough for an individual. Now, eventually, 6 months down the road or a year down the road, sometimes we do touch ups. But at that point, I'm not dealing with the same individual because we took this deep dive. All right. And so, how I do my coaching is I examine your history very meticulously. No detail is too small. I ask a lot of questions. We start with your childhood, adolescence, into your college years, all the way up until today, because what I am doing is mapping out your blueprint. The current blueprint needs to change for your reality to change. What you believe about yourself, about money, about SPs, etc., etc. Just the overall idea of your life. And so in doing so, we process emotions associated with certain events that convinced you that you are less than. At some point, your confidence has been shaken and you've been convinced that you are somebody else. All right. And if you haven't yet, go watch my previous live on empath. This is so true in the case of empath. It's not even funny. And so after processing the emotions and giving it a new spin, because chances are you've experienced those events when you were a child, when you were small, and your perception was altered. Okay, your perception was not that of an adult. And today, now that you are an adult, you can revise it, you can give it a different meaning. You don't have to pretend that it didn't happen. Okay, you can simply give it a different meaning, one that suits you. And I mean, 99.999% out of 100, fuck it, 100 times out of 100, it's simply telling what really happened. Okay, your perception had been clouded again by somebody around you who was bringing you down. And most of the time, I'm dealing with individuals who had toxic parents, okay, or neglectful parents, et cetera, et cetera. And so you are still observing the world from that perception today. This is why you're having trouble in romantic relationships, maybe at work, maybe whatever. But usually people don't get shaken up enough until it comes to the romantic platform, to the affairs of the heart, where you really feel it, and that's when people start taking it seriously. So, back to the coaching, when we process emotions, we start really working on who you really authentically are. And we're going to talk about it today, how to turn the tables on your SP after chasing, because who you actually belong to be will never chase again and will get results effortlessly. You can already attract that version of SP, that behavior, that commitment. It's not a fake promise. It's just it's going to come to you. You will never have to chase again. So the idea is to work on yourself, to disembark from those ideas that you transmitting to the world, okay, 24/7, so that you can start engaging in a different conversation with the world, okay, and that's with your SP. Now, in processing emotions, after that, we deliberately construct your brand new life. In other words, I help people quit their boring jobs, construct businesses, get new hobbies. Definitely, we work on SPs, but it's a all around coaching in other departments of your life that you definitely need, okay, to be a whole person just by yourself, to bring you back again to who you really are internally and externally. So, whatever that encompasses for you, whether that's again changing careers, um, maybe relocating countries. I mean, I've had all sorts of clients. Okay, I've been a coach for 10 years. Maybe you would like to know. 3 years on YouTube. Before that, I'm still coaching, clients from the entertainment world. But I really got inspired 3 years ago during COVID to come on YouTube and inspire some people. One thing led to another, and we got to talking to SPs. And I really find it an honor and a privilege to help you guys, because I've been through this rigmarole myself. And what I can, I share from my experience, and I give it to you bite size so everybody can digest it easier. I understand that everybody's, on a different journeys, their own journeys. And so, as much as I can, I give it to you in bite size so that you can easily digest it and definitely implement it into your life. So the best way to get in coaching with me, to just book the signature coaching package. If you'd like to book a session first, just to make sure we resonate with each other after checking out this channel, and big thumbs up and big subscribe if you're new. You're going to learn a lot on this channel. And the predecessor channel that's linked below. You can book the session and we can discuss your priorities and what it is that you would like to work on. And I can make recommendations. And if you're happy, we can proceed with the coaching. Now, parenthesis here, the best idea is to book right as soon as possible, because I'm only one individual and I don't take on any more people that I can handle comfortably. Let's just say it like this, because I really learned my lesson on YouTube. And we can have a discussion on that another time, but I want to do it diligently and wholeheartedly. And this is why it's a good idea to pre-book, because you might not be able to get into right away. So if it's a pressing matter, especially if you've been procrastinating and all these kinds of things, which I hear all the time when people start with me, just understand that there might be delay. So the sooner the better. Okay. If you have any questions, then you can email me. And yes, there are options to pay in installments. They're just not through me. Okay. They're facilitated via a payment link. All the information you'll find below. And it's only for US residents. Okay. I apologize to the rest of the world. All right. So today's topic is turning the tables on your SP after chasing. Okay. And yes, it's possible. Like, I don't care what you've done, how hard you've chased this person, how many fucking text messages you've sent them, how many emails, how much you've begged them. Unless you've done something terribly wrong, which you should definitely apologize. Okay. That does not include this conversation. And if they were abusive also, this does not include this conversation either. So I'm going to talk about in general terms. So you know your story, I don't know your story. If again, it's something different, then we can discuss in session together. So the reason that you felt like chasing again is because you're misrepresenting yourself. Like, you have a huge golden opportunity right now, but only if you can manage to stop chasing in the physical. Okay, like, it's okay to still, not really okay, but if you can at least manage to stop chasing in the physicality, meaning stop sending texts, stop trying too hard, like go listen to my previous the audio from last night. If you can do that in the physicality, and if you excuse me, cannot without help, I can definitely assist and explain to you, why that's completely counterproductive. In fact, we're going to discuss it here also. But you could still chase energetically, but just not in the physicality, because this is the point of, making a turnaround, doing a 180 kind of situation. You have a huge opportunity, and here's why, right? I don't care how long you've done this for. You could have done this for years, by the way. Chased them and accommodated them, being a pushover and considered their needs before yours, and all of these things that people pleasers unfortunately do, because again, you grew up in a dysfunctional family. Now look at this. Here's the psychological mindfuck that you can totally do on your SP. And it's going to be a revolution for you. You're going to use the fact that you chase them all this time to your benefit. Okay? Because of the fact that they're used to you being this way, and no other way. And they have a certain perception of you, and they think they have you figured out, you're going to use it against them, so to speak. Okay. It's even more of a bigger impact, if you will, when you're going to stop chasing. And you should realize maybe this should be your motivation to stop chasing. Like, honestly, guys, right now, it's kind of like I'm talking to myself 10 years ago, or some maybe over 10 years ago, actually. I wish somebody told me this, like I am telling you right now. You're going to understand the benefits. They're not expecting for you to stop chasing. And make no mistake, they're thoroughly enjoying it, even though they don't look like it, even though they're ignoring your texts or not returning your calls. It's all boosting their ego. Now, imagine one day, and by the way, you don't have to make an announcement. You don't have to buy like an ad on TV or anything like that, or post it on social media or tell them anything. In fact, it's best that you do not. Okay? It's going to be felt through the energetic ethers. One day, taking away all of that attention from them, one day stopping to text, one day stopping to chase, they're going to completely fucking notice that shit. And they're going to start wondering what the fuck just happened. Oh, don't worry, they're paying the fuck attention. That you don't understand that they're paying the fuck attention, and you think you're so insignificant. All eyes are on you. Just remember that this is your reality, and you mistook it for somebody else's reality. Perhaps you mistook it for your SP's reality. Okay. I mean, it certainly feels that way. If you're chasing them, you're making it about them. Okay. So now imagine you're taking all of that energy back completely, and you're deciding one day, you know what? I'm not getting any results like that. And you're never going to get results like that, because it's completely against the way things work. Okay. It's your world. You are behind, you should be behind the wheel of this Rolls Royce, but you're pretending that you're not. You're sitting in the passenger seat right now. And of course, things are out of control. But and so you're trying to sweet talk to the driver whose car it is not. Okay. So imagine one day you get up, you know what? And you say, my mistake. I completely forgot this was my reality, and that I don't need to chase anybody or anything. Okay. I forgot that if I go to work on myself and I rewrite history, not in a delusional, not in a dysfunctional, not in a toxic way, but I'm going to own my life. I'm going to own my story. I'm not going to give away my power to some fucking SP who's writing my story. They're writing your story right now. This is a mistake. You're giving them the power. Take away all the emotion from them and let it stop triggering you entirely. Easier said than done. This is why I'm offering coaching. But the minute you take away the reaction, and your lethal weapon ready is, as I discussed in the audio last night, is to stay calm. Whereas before, they used to trigger you, they used to get a reaction, a rise out of you. And again, make no mistake, they've enjoyed it like profusely. They've enjoyed it because, let's face it, underneath it all, some people truly enjoy the psychological power. But that is not the game you want to play. You're now awake to the fact that this is your world, this is your reality, and you're not an employee. You used to behave like an employee, but now you are, in fact, sitting atop the table, ahead of everybody else, and you playing the role that you were supposed to play. Okay, you're at the top of the table, you're the CEO. Okay, and you're very much in charge from this moment forward to dictate what kind of scenario is going to play out. Now, the most magnificent trick over here is, like I said, number one, to stop chasing to the best of your ability. And it's going to feel difficult at first, but then empowering, because the effects, you are going to see them right away. They're going to right away start wondering about you within days. Okay. The same applies if you stop chasing energetically. Okay. And number two, you're going to completely rewrite the story. In other words, you're going to give it an entirely different meaning. Okay. Right now, you must feel really powerless. This is why the chasing. If you felt powerful, you would not be chasing, right? And then on top of it, you know that you're chasing, so you feel completely fucking horrible, right? You feel less than, you feel because the universe is telling you, hey darling, this is not the role for you. This is not the role for anybody. You're going against the grain of how the universal laws should be applied. Okay, so rewriting the story and transmitting the story into the ethers, using the very fact that you chased and now telling the story around it, that's going to make you feel in a brand new way about the situation. That this could be many interpretations, but essentially geared towards acknowledging that you're a magnificent person, a really loving, kind person that just unfortunately for now doesn't have a handle on their confidence. That doesn't make you a less than person, that just makes you a person who's slightly confused, who's in charge. Okay, I would start with that. Now, again, every situation is different and yours will be unique. And in your specific situation, you can find the golden nuggets to feel good about even the actions that you've taken. Now, it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that you will continue these actions. It stops right here, right now, to the best of your ability, and try not to go back to it. Okay? If you, like, it's like you're walking off stage right now of the stage of the movie, of the theater production where you're playing the chaser. Okay? Give up on that role once and for all. If you want to turn the shit around, you gotta mean business. Not only internally, you're going to reframe this energy, because in the minute you're giving it a different meaning and you're saying, wait a minute, my actions were out of love. Okay, I acted out of love. This is why I chased you. I want to have this romantic, beautiful, loving, and kind relationship in my world. And this is where my actions came from a good place. Okay, and you stop feeling horrible about it. And like I said, in your specific story, there will be other details that you can say to yourself. Okay. And then you're going to say, you know what? This just means that this is how much love I have in my heart towards this person. But right now, right here, I'm going to play a different role. I'm tired of playing the role of somebody who has to try hard. It's exhausting. I mean, let's face it. I'm ready for the things to come to me. And so my interpretation is that I was confused whose story this was. And I was under the impression that I need to do all these things to deserve the love versus let them, come and get it and come work for it and beg for it even or apologize for it, etc. Okay. In the minute you change the meaning of what has been going on until this moment, in other words, it isn't a story of somebody powerless. It isn't a story of somebody undesirable. It's a story of somebody who was confused, misinformed, okay? Didn't apply their power in the right direction. Okay, this gives you freedom to then interpret it in your favor. Okay, so you're not fighting the current conditions, you're using them as stepping stones. So you're saying, yes, I chased and I fucking own it. And in fact, you know what? I'm fucking proud of it. Because that was part of my fucking development. If you can come to this point and not shy away from the fact that you chased, but in fact say, yeah, yeah, I did it. So then what? Okay? I'm not ashamed. This is part of my development. I own my history. I was influenced by my history. Not that I'm not responsible, don't get me wrong, but I came from a good place. I came from a good heart. And this is why I chased. Do you see how, like, I have goosebumps all over my body? Do you see how this just changed the conversation completely? And now you are a free agent to go into another timeline in which you always belonged. And you feel empowered by this love. Like, if I'm operating out of love, I'm empowered. Now, I didn't use it for myself, meaning like I didn't use it to my advantage, but now I'm going to. Okay. And now I'm going to allow through the ethers, without ever sending a smoke signal, text message, nothing. In fact, give up on all this bullshit. Let them fucking make it up for all those years, months, whatever it has been for you. The effort needs to start coming from them. All right. This is the turning of the tables. All right. So the solutions, they will start coming to you. So you forgot you were the dreamer, and now you're repositioning it entirely. Now, in addition to this, I wanted to introduce, and I'm super fucking excited about this because it came to me in one of my sessions, and I finally found the words to explain how I energize people, events, circumstances, etc. Okay, I teach energy work. I left that out in the intro. Otherwise, the intro would have been 15 minutes long. So you understand, I can talk about my work, which I love dearly, all day long. So forgive me, please. But if I don't do the intro, I also get a million emails. All right. So when you realize that you have the whole world inside of you, and the minute that you change the interpretation, the world just changed, right? Just by assumption alone, just by reinterpretation alone, you've just changed timelines, man. In which, again, the fact that you've chased serves you. It's not to be frowned upon, it serves you. Everything can be used in that sense, and I would advise you to use everything, okay, to your fucking advantage. Now, what you're going to couple it with and how you're going to be the mastermind and the master fucking magician is to energize it with potent energy. Okay, so you stopped the chasing, you reinterpreted the story, and this is going to take you some time, but we're doing a crash course here, right? And so you're zeroing in on now the fun of creating differently, creating remotely. Basically, you're working remotely. You no longer have to do the old school texting and smoke signal as a joke or email and this and that. You're using high technology of your body. And you should know, and I always talk about it, your heart chakra is the most powerful motherfucking chakra. Your root chakra also, but your heart chakra. Okay. When you're sending out this emotion, and in my case, okay, the way that I teach, the more excitement, the better. In other words, you're working on the next step. So you stop the chasing. So now you want them to start the chasing, start the begging, start the pleading, whatever the fuck they need to do. And you energize this event, whatever that might be to you, whatever the most exciting thing is, to signify to you that things have just changed. Like unprecedented things start appearing for you because you've reinterpreted the story. I mean, the minute that you reinterpret the story and you bring your energy home and you no longer spend it out there, but you start creating with it, okay, deliberately. Now, it could be anything, it could be other departments, but most importantly, this energy belongs to you in order to be able to influence them at a distance. Now, of course, it's always a mirror. You're not actually changing anybody. You're just being a really powerful creator, and on your holodeck of life, holographically speaking, you're starting to create brand new. The best way to, and in a very simplistic way, I teach for everybody to understand, okay, as I've said in the intro, people of all walks of life to be able to achieve their manifestation dreams and goals. You have to get excited about whatever the fuck that is. It's a deviation in the right direction. It's going to be that you're going to push yourself over the edge, meaning the first step in the right direction has to be so amplified with emotion. It's like you are a kid who had too much fucking sugar and you're in Disneyland. That's the best way that I would describe it. In other words, Are you jumping up and down? Are you clapping your hands? Are you feeling this emotion coming out of you? This is the only way that you're going to animate somebody in the right direction differently. Why? Okay, I don't know about you, but every time I get my way, every time I get exactly what I was creating, manifesting, I get super fucking excited. I'm so grateful. I have such a grateful heart because I've been through situations and I know how gratitude really works. Okay, gratitude is the antidote to everything. And every time that it goes my way, it's like I know how it could be, but I did get my way. And so I'm extra grateful. Okay, this is why contrast and, you know, uh, past situations really help you because they amplify your gratitude. This is just in my case, could be also in your case. So I'm extra grateful, but I'm not in a beggar way, okay, but in a real, true, loving appreciation of life. In your life going your way kind of deal. You and I, universe and I, we are a team kind of situation. And now you are thanking the universe in advance and feeling it in advance and thus projecting it into the quantum field. Thus, to your SP, who, yes, you've chased all this time before, but you're energizing a different result, one that would excite you, because you are informing the quantum field energetically about the kind of event that you want to experience. So all the events, all the people, all the versions of people, all the circumstances that feel like this, like you've just won the lottery, that you just got your way, that you just got the yes, and you just got that text, wouldn't you feel giddy? Nobody needs to know about it. Nobody needs to see you jumping up and down. But creating this emotion is super mega powerful. Listen to me when I'm telling you. Okay, you want to become ultra grateful if, especially if you're in a dire situation, especially if you want to amplify it and get yourself out of that shit as soon as fucking possible. Okay, if I were you, I would sit down and I would create a gratitude list about this person, but also a gratitude list for the things that they're doing now. Okay, thank you so much that you're now catering to it, but not out of desperation, but out of real gratitude, out of real feeling and being able to connect to this is how I want my life to be. If I'm driving my Rolls Royce, if I'm behind the wheel of my Rolls Royce representing your life, then I am dictating to the universe what's going to happen, but I'm also super excited about it. That finally my life is going according to plan. Okay. So, in fact, it's kind of like becomes a memory, all right, in your body when you practice this and when it starts working and turning in your favor, because it will. The universe, it's inevitable, it will respond in some way, and then you will receive the evidence. You just need to continue building on evidence. All right, now you're gonna say to me, oh, what is it, I have to be always so excited and happy? Is that such a bad time, is it such a bad way to spend your time, rather than, feeling like kind of like in being in the sorrow, being kind of like sad? Yes, you're going to have to develop different kind of systems inside your body, different kind of memory banks of emotions. Okay, bank of emotions. And so it will be like a memory bank. You're going to go there on cue. All right, especially in the morning. The morning routine is everything. So you're going to memorize this feeling and you're going to certainly remember what you want them to do and how you want them to behave and what all of this chasing even meant. Okay, you can say to yourself, as a for instance, that was me before. I am becoming somebody different now. Okay. And again, you have a golden motherfucking opportunity in this moment to shock completely your SP and everybody around you. Just how does this new version act on their confidence? How does this new version think? How does this, you have, like, you can reinvent yourself top to bottom and people will be blown the fuck away. Okay, forget your SP. Everybody around you will notice. Okay. So, writing your story and presenting yourself in the authentic light, because that begging person, that chasing person, that has never been you. So now you have the opportunity to present to the world and to your SP the authentic version who's a motherfucker, who's the hottest chick in the game, hottest dude in the game. Okay? So pressing the button then, excuse me, sorry, 1 second. This is my tea. When you learn this emotion about your SP, this is how they are. I just reinvented myself, and this is how they're reacting to me. Okay, they're totally obsessed with me. They're totally mesmerized. They're totally intrigued. Like, what the fuck happened to me? Okay, you're pressing this button. And again, I equate it in my coaching as a perfumier of energy. Okay, you want them to be obsessed. You want them to love you. You want them to feel in a very specific way about you, and only you will know what that feels like. This is the best way that I can explain it to you. Like, for example, I give it sometimes examples of my manifestations where I borrow other people's energies as inspirations, like from the past of my exes. It could be places in the world, it could be events in my life, but I construct, like a perfumier constructs a new perfume out of the samples of emotions, if that makes any sense. So you, having constructed this energy very meticulously and pasting it over your SP, you internalize and remember what that feels like, because this is your new standard. You're going to telepathically transmit that to them and basically have them on the remote control as long as you want to. Okay, but this is your new standard now. And essentially what I equate it to is that it's as if you're pressing the button in your heart chakra. Okay, you're pressing the button with, again, excitement, producing that emotion that would be yours had you seen the change that you so craved all this time in them, but this time just really allowing it to come over here rather than fucking chasing it, having to notice that if you are to chase, if you're chasing, somebody's running away. How much fun is that? It's such a fucking, this is not worth your time, darling. It's beneath you. Okay? You need to be like a golden Buddha in the middle of the motherfucking universe and make it all about yourself, not in a narcissistic sense. No. But knowing your power and knowing that you never need to chase a person, anything for that matter. In fact, I would go as far as to say chasing is a profusely, like an enormous a waste of time, because the the results that you will receive, they will be so minuscule, nothing to write home about, rather than the universe dropping into your lap the solution that you were seeking for years, maybe just relaxing into a new standard. And so you're pressing the button, so to speak, emotionally, after you construct this emotion of this new version, the way that they are now that you've changed. And parenthesis here, only the new version of you who has done that work and who's capable of tapping in into that timeline and therefore pasting it over your SP will experience this person. But you're pressing this button on purpose. I've also given an analogy, as in, another way of saying it is to coming up to the piano and pressing the key and knowing exactly the sound that will come out. However you want to say it, but you're pressing the button inside your chakra and activating this SP. No longer are you chasing. You are commanding. You rewrote the whole story of what had happened and why you had to chase and giving it a reasonable spin. You're not going to lie to yourself. You're going to come from truth. Okay? There's always, it needs to be that there's a grain of truth, and then you can push it, but also being kind to yourself. So at no point are you lying, in fact, you're just revealing the truth. Okay, what is the truth of the situation? You're a kind, beautiful person who unfortunately didn't have, let's just say, a hold on their confidence. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, so leave that behind. But now I'm utilizing my power and I'm pressing the button of confidence and I'm letting my SP come to me. So it's that simple. It's just like in Star Wars, when the scene when Luke is with Yoda, and the spaceship is in the whatever, the lake or whatever it was. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure, but it's like, don't try, just do. Okay. And again, only you will know that you have pressed that button. Like, you don't need to do it again. You just touched the key, you just touched the emotion. That person, your SP, could be across the fucking world. And if you touch the button, press the button, touch that emotion, and you know that you've touched them emotionally just now, because it's telepathy. You touch your emotion, like before you were chasing, 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 they were running away. Okay, that was the message. Now you're touching an emotion. Oh shit, they're obsessed with me. Just all of a sudden, right now, you're rewriting the story, you're giving it a completely different spin, and you're believing in your power. That's the main ingredient. It's just like, don't try, do. Believing in your power to change realities, to change the narrative, to change the the actions that are coming your way, to change realities. Okay, so that's the confidence with which you're going to have to press that button. And if you really know, and if you really just downloaded, yeah, it clicked, it connected, I just touched them emotionally, and they're like I said, they could be on the fucking moon, across the world, and I just touched them emotionally. You don't need to do anything else, and they will brew on this energy, and the energy will stay with them. And I can teach you way more than that in my coaching, trust me, because it's all individual, depending on your background, etc. This person will not be able to stop, I mean, thinking about you, chasing whatever instructions you give them. And it's all done with confidence and telepathically, because you're finally utilizing your power that was collecting dust all this time. Can you imagine how much time you wasted? I'm just here saving you time and money. So serious. I love my work here with you guys so much. Okay, let me check my notes. Hold on a second. So the story, in the ethers must change, and please don't be shy when you're changing the story. Write the best fucking story ever. I don't care how far-fetched it might seem to you right now. It is not fucking far-fetched. You can write the best. You can write right now, we're getting married. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have children, because you are. You can change that top to bottom, because you can change. If you don't change, then nothing will change. That, goes without saying, I can guarantee it. But if you change, and if you boldly start declaring, I'm after this big dream, and nothing's going to stop me, then, you're building on it. You're starting with something unbelievable and daring to go after this big story. Don't you know that the story will be yours? Just believe in your power, as I said. Okay, so don't try, do. Again, this formulation of energy, just like you spend all this time thinking you're not good enough, you're not powerful enough. It's been like this all this time. Do. Can you leave that behind? Can you yourself step into this new person's shoes who does not need to chase, for whom it's automatic? I think and I attract. I think and they call. I think and they chase, because you're doing it already. Okay, you are repelling them right now, because you think that you need to chase. Like, you think that if you don't show up, if you don't show up with another text, if you don't try, they're gonna go somewhere. They're not. You have no idea how much power you have over them, even right now. Yes, even after chasing. Like I said, they they love and adore. They enjoyed that fucking chasing thoroughly, like throughout, all the time. Now imagine you're going to take away their favorite toy. They're going to be flabbergasted. They're not going to know what category to put you into. Like, what do I do with you? Who are you even? Do you know how much fun that is? I've fucked with people like that all my life, because every time I'm leveled up, they're like, who are you? I'm becoming more of who I really am. And you can do the same. It's so much fun. Now, and I should have started with that, because I mentioned it in the last night's audio. The most important component is you being calm. Okay, you completely giving up on this 3D bullshit. Okay, 3D is a fucking psychopath who's trying to derail you. Like, if you just address it that way in your mind, the 3D is a toxic person trying to convince me of a story that I don't want to live anymore. And I am not interested in the story anymore. Can you treat it that way? Okay. Some, like, let's just say some liar shows up on the scene and starts spinning some story. That's 3D. And you say to the liar and to the manipulator or whatever, to the toxic person, you know what? Basta ka basta kind of situation. I am behind the wheel. I'm writing the story. So 3D will change. You don't need to take any cues from it. You just need to superimpose whatever it is that you're after right now. Don't ever take the cues from the 3D at all. Um, 1 second. Let me check my notes. Sorry, 1 sec. So yes, which reality is your anchor right now? Basically, right? What is the emotion? What is the expectation? Again, is the expectation like some people, again, they tell me in coaching, like, are you sure that they will not disappear? Or are you sure that they will not forget me if I stop, interacting with them? Yes, I'm sure. In fact, I know. In fact, if you don't stop, doing what you're doing, they'll never change. You're going to have to be brave enough to try a new way. They're not going to go anywhere. Trust, they're more addicted to you than you will ever know. That you don't know that. This is why they have all the power. But remember who's in charge. Remember who's behind the wheel. If you remember that, and if you remember who is in charge of the narrative, and you can completely turn the tables on them by rewriting the narrative in the ethers. This is such a subtle power, and yet this is all power. Okay, you right now have a very distinct narrative about yourself, about what they're doing, about what they might do. Rewrite that shit, okay, and start experiencing, but a completely different thing. Believing in your power, though, that this is enough for you to quantum leap to a different timeline, for the reality to literally change and start echoing back to you. Basically, be careful what you wish for. Okay. When you're writing it out, I don't know how to say it. Like I was thinking before I came on, it's as if the universe, it's not as if universe sees and hears and just registers, logs in everything, all your thoughts. It exists somewhere. It's a reality. Okay. So when you're wishing, when you're rewriting, even though it's only known to you, like right here, right now, you're going to start, like you could just very powerfully, like Yoda, don't try, just do. And if you had enough, this powerful energy is going to come out of you and you go, you know what? I'm done fucking chasing. You go now. SP, you chase me. I'm done chasing. Be pissed off, okay, in that sense, and stop fucking chasing completely. And if you started dialoguing with this SP, and first of all, dialoguing with you, okay, they're doing this, they're going crazy, they're obsessed. And at first blush, it's not going to be believable to you. Of course, it's not, because you've chased all this time. But the more you kind of digesting this new reality and you're entertaining, you know what? That would be kind of cool if they started chasing me. That would be kind of neat if they started being more accommodating to me. That would be kind of neat if they were this way and that way. And the more you kind of brewing on it, it's like, a visualization right now that comes to mind, like incense. When you burn incense, the smoke, it's like this perfume smoke is spreading all throughout your place. And it's going to start spreading all throughout the ethers. And before you know it, it's like everybody's got the memo, yours P included. Now, of course, the most important thing is to act on it. Act on it in other words, if you're still chasing them in physicality, it defeats the entire purpose, because you actually don't believe what you've written. You don't believe for 1 second what you're trying to accomplish here. You have to be pissed off enough, I feel like sometimes, to really believe pour your belief into a new idea. Want it bad enough to be like, you know what, this is the only thing I will accept from here on. Okay, I want it exactly like this. And my clients, I love you guys so much because you're very particular, exactly what you want. And I love that shit. And you should know exactly what you want. But fall in love with your idea and be married to it enough where it's like, you know what, my way or the motherfucking highway. This is how it's going to go. When you're behind the wheel like this, like no power on earth can stop you. And the chasing having stopped, you have total control of the situation, coupled with your calm demeanor and completely unprecedented, yes, calm and not chasing, being relaxed about it, and not sending, all these texts and not responding to their emails, maybe, or not responding to their calls. They're gonna lose their motherfucking mind. Okay. But you have to, at least whilst you're working out your own insecurities, that you're afraid that they're gonna go with somebody else or somebody else might be better, all these things that you're afraid of right now, realize at the same time that that fear keeps you acting this way. So let go of the fear. I mean, if you're fearing something, it's going to happen regardless. Okay, no matter how much you chase them, you could say to yourself. So why don't you try a different way? Let go of the fear and see that it only exists in your mind. You think this SP is so precious? They're just a person. All right, make it easy and simple in your mind. Start shoehorning your own mind why they're actually extremely lucky to have you. Okay, I have my clients and my coach, different processes I have with my clients. Everything is individual and custom made, but I have sometimes my clients write out a list of all the beautiful qualities that they have that the SP is quite frankly lucky to have. And if I talk to you, I can almost guarantee you 99%, 99.99% of the time, the clients that come into my coaching are just absolutely beautiful souls. And there's nothing that you can write that will be so far-fetched about you that, they're absolutely lucky in that sense. So it's easy to believe that they're the lucky one, actually. See how you're turning this energy around. Before, you used to idolize them and put them on the pedestal and da-da-do-ba-do. It didn't work for you. It shouldn't work for you like that. How it should work, it should be at least equal. And I would recommend that you be the most dominant mind in the relationship if you want to be in charge of the narrative, benevolently only, obviously, and of course. But I'm only going on the assumption that you've had enough of it not going your way, right? How much fun is it to not get your way? So if you want to be in charge of the narrative, realize your power. Since this is, again, your reality, since this is your universe, you're entitled to that, darn. Don't be shy about it. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're genuinely not hurting anybody, okay? You know that, sometimes you think things that you shouldn't think, and, we've all been there. But just as long as you're not acting on it, not sending any kind of weird energy, okay? You're good. You can create any fucking fabulous fairy tale from this point forward. And I'll tell you something else. Your relationship with this SP, because of this chasing, can become even more powerful, even stronger. Okay, if you spin it this way in your mind, it's the kind of story, the kind of energy that you will create around the story. Before, it used to be I'm powerless. That's not an empowering energy. If you use even this disempowering chasing behavior to your advantage, you've just alchemized it. Okay. And since you did, you're now deriving benefits out of it, and only benefits. All right. And this is how you go. All right. So, making it easy in your mind, simple in your mind. This is easy as pie. All I need to do is to decide on, now that I've stopped chasing, what kind of quality of this SP will I receive? Trust me, they will lose their motherfucking mind. Everybody likes stability, right? Everybody likes kind of like to predict things and to know exactly what to expect. Be unpredictable. do something unexpected, this will throw them off completely, if nothing else. But then really mean it, be genuine about your change and mean it. Like it's not just for a week, it's not just for a month, it's not even just for a year. This is permanent. And if you really do the work, you will be able to hold on to it and you will have your SP like wrapped around your finger. I'm so serious about it. Okay. That is 100% true. If you can convince your mind, like you could do it in a day, you can do it. Okay. If you can part with your insecurities and fears, but in a day, it's a tall order for people, which is why I offer coaching. It comes in layers. You need to convince your mind that it's going to be okay if you don't chase, in other words. And I understand because I've been there. Many times I've been there. I thought the world would end if I let go. No, darling, the world starts when you let go, because you really deserve a reality again where it's easy to achieve these things. Aren't you tired by now? Aren't you fucking exhausted, trying hard and this and that? It's beneath you, like I said. You deserve somebody. You deserve a situation where it's easy, where you go like this. Okay, when you feel out of your heart chakra and poof, it comes, and you're like, shit, I should have been doing this all my life. So, I told you how to animate it with excitement, okay, with love, excitement, but it has to be on a high voltage, okay, sending out this energy. And again, I can teach you more if you come into my coaching, but sending out this energy, it will literally replicate in the event. The universe will take a snapshot of that emotion and send you the experience that will make you feel this way, or altogether transport you into another timeline, depending on how intense you are about it, where there'll be a series of events like that. Okay, I mean, pay it again. Whatever comes out of your heart chakra is super fucking powerful and can be magnified like times a million, okay, by the universe. So, just a real run through of steps. Number one, stop chasing, stop trying. Trying, don't try, do. It's either you're doing it or you're not doing it. When you're chasing it, you're not doing shit. Okay, you're just repelling it. Okay, you're in fact saying you're cheapening your value. All right, I mean, I hate to really say it like that, and you're misrepresenting yourself to the world. You're misrepresenting yourself to this SP. You're lying. In fact, okay, you're saying I'm not worth chasing after. I'm not worth just coming to. I have to chase you. No, don't do that anymore. Stop trying altogether. Let go. It's not good for your self-esteem. It's not good for any of that, or for your manifestation for that matter. Okay? Not good for the dynamic at all. Number two, instead, bring your energy home, meaning like, I'm done doing this. I'm going to go to work on myself. And again, repositioning, how am I going to make myself feel better now that I have chased? How am I going to smooth this over so that I can easily transfer myself to the parallel timeline in which this serves me? Okay, I hope that's clear. So decide to create with this energy, not waste it. So in other words, I'm bringing all the energy home so that I can transport myself to this timeline in which everything, in which everything serves me and my SPs the way that I want them to be. Number three, decide what you want the story to be instead, right? Give it a different meaning. In other words, I did not fuck up. I did not lose face. I simply came from love. If you give it that meaning, you don't, or maybe there's some other thing, some other aspects in your case, but all of a sudden, just the tonality just changed. Okay, again, which reality is your anchor rooted in? In shame, guilt, unsatisfaction, disappointment, or you smoothing it over by saying, you know what, I came from love, which is why it was okay, provided you didn't do anything, harmful to this person, of course. So you're giving it a different meaning, you're making yourself feel good about it. And finally, support the new narrative vibrationally and in action. In other words, even if you're tempted, because the two timelines will be simultaneously coexisting again, the one that you just came from, in which you used to chase, and that was your idea, of how, you would behave. Let's just say in this reality, you'd never chase again. And so simultaneously, these two timelines will coexist for quite some time. And in some moments, you will be tempted to maybe go back and do more of that. That is the discipline. And that is the calm behavior that you will need to, quite frankly, develop through discipline, where you go back to the calm moment. And in the moment that you are, it's just like you catching yourself in a moment where you tempted to chase, whether that, sending another text message or worrying or fretting or making a devastating prognosis about like what's going to happen, or telling some kind of a story. Catch yourself and say, no, I'm done with this reality. I'm turning, if I am really committed to turn the tables on my SP, I need to persevere in this direction. Even though it's brand new to me, even though I've never experienced this reality where they're chasing me now, I know I have to stay committed to it. If I'm to derive any kind of benefit out of it, all right, I need to go with it all the way. And before you know it, you will have such a amazing handle on the whole thing, on the whole relationship, that you will be able to telepathically tap into them and predict, in quotations, what they're going to tell you, how they're going to behave, redirect them maybe through basically knowing ahead of time what they feel like, basically understanding if I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling right now. Let's just say, I don't know, you're feeling out of sorts, let's just say. And you say, you know what, right now is not the best time to create. I'm going to realign myself and then, okay, create and then send the thoughts. Like having this wisdom and intelligence, right? When, you're in this crappy mood, you don't pay attention to the kind of thoughts that come to you about them, and using purposely the emotions and your heart chakra to direct them in the way that, like, are you going to be on all the time and be able to produce this emotion of love and excitement? It's impossible. Okay, you're going to get exhausted. But when you are on, you're on. And that's good enough, because that will give you enough transformation in this person. And you, again, will receive enough evidence that your mentality will start shifting. And you will recognize, "Ugh, never again am I going back to the old way, because the new way works so easy. I just thought of them and they're fucking ringing me. I just felt this love come out of my heart, and they're, I don't know, proposing to me maybe even. I don't fucking know. And you realize, like, whoa, this is easy. This is comparatively easy. I mean, comparing to chasing, it's easy. Yes, it is. It just requires discipline to get a hold of, okay, what am I sending out? What am I feeling? And consciously directing your thoughts. What is the narrative? Never forgetting that you're in charge of the narrative. Only when you let go of the idea and of the fact and of the duty, quite frankly, that you are in charge of your narrative, only you can be in charge of the narrative, of what they think about you, what they talk about, about you. All of these things, they could be rearranged. Okay, things can be deleted out of the matrix kind of situation. Of course, this means, I mean, I'm saying these things, but it literally just means a different timeline will show up. But you can literally reconstruct the whole thing, where you will literally only derive the benefits because you are in charge of constructing the story. But you have to be committed to be, well, to be on your side and to be committed to the story. If you're choosing the story, this is it. Basta ka basta. I'm dropping the chasing. I'm becoming a lot more wiser and a lot more productive. And if I'm doing that, then I need to utilize my energy and my magicianship in a very like in a very deliberate way, in a very benevolent way towards me. You need to realize the power that you hold and the golden, again, opportunity that you hold in this moment, and do not waste it. Do not think that this is not reversible. It fucking is. Again, unless something horrible happened, go apologize. Or if they, did something, we can discuss in that sense. Everybody's individual. But you can literally rewrite history by giving it a different meaning, top to bottom. All right? Does anybody have questions as I check my notes? 1 second, please. Yeah. That's jazz. Making it inevitable. But, you know, you really need to be careful what you wish for. I'm going to wrap up with it because just the other day, again, it goes back to the universe, like really having eyes on you, ears, eyes. The whole world is looking at you, okay? Meaning like everybody and their mother paying attention to what the fuck you're doing. You have a very important position in your life. Don't fucking waste it. Show up as a CEO, not an employee, okay? Um, be careful what you write down. Just the other day, I changed something in my script, one of the scripts that I'm working on, and I augmented it. I tweaked it and I augmented it. And don't you know, the very next day, something changed. Okay. So it's like you need to understand, like, again, just want to really emphasize the universe is paying close attention. Know that you hold this important position. It's like you were the queen. If you were the queen of England, let's just say, okay, or queen of another country, or queen of your world, all right, and you had this monarch power of every time you rethink something, every time you reinvent yourself, every time you change the story, the world changes. This is how much power you have. This is how much power you have over your life. This is how much power you have over the world, because you're changing worlds. So you can become this magnificent magician who can switch worlds today just by mimicking at first the behavior of the person who is confident, and then going to work on yourself and rerouting yourself through the inner work. And I can't stress enough, I will never get tired of saying this, how much power truly it holds what you're doing in the ethers, what you're doing in the ethers, what you're sending out constantly as you're walking around leisurely, casually, the kind of stories you spin. Try to be on your side when you're spinning these stories and gravitate towards the kinder stories towards yourself. Again, write the best story. Freak yourself out. The Matrix doesn't make fucking sense. Just because you chase the shit out of this person doesn't mean anything. Things can change tonight, okay? And they can love you even more somehow for chasing them and now not chasing them anymore, okay? It can all turn in your favor. How? I don't know. The solutions, they come to you, but only when you are residing in this knowing. And now you're telepathically sending to the universe and to your speed this mega powerful story of I'm in charge and I know I'm in charge. And listen up, everybody. This is the new fucking story. And you're so in it. You're so convinced. You're living it. You're embodying it. The world has no choice, and your SP has no choice but to obey and oblige. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching. All the information again from me is below. Until next time, ciao ciao. Big kiss and thank you.